We've seen you maybe in the trailer for a certain Star Wars thing. You can't tell us anything, I know, but how excited should fans be for this? Because they waited a long time to see you and Hayden back in these roles and back on the big screen.
Yeah, I mean, if it's possible to be any more excited than folks already are, I would be. I think it's one of the most thrilling additions to the Star Wars canon. I think you and
like an itch
doing things with that
I
role
cannot help
is
it.
a dream for fans of the original films. You know, we can't obviously.
I love how polite he is and what a murderer he played on Homeland.
And wonderful cameos.
What an actor.
Did I hear cameos?
Cameos.
Does Rupert
plural.
Friend know some cameos that we don't know about?
Somebody say word up.
Rupert! Tell me what's the word cameo?
Mace Windu, are you on this show? Hey, Mace Windu all across the world.
You got one arm left. Do you know how to use it?
But my cameo is just, voice is just Fred Schneider improv games.
Hey, Mace Windu, what are you doing? Saving Grogu, cause no one else will. That's gonna be a new improv warm-up we start using.
I'm switching it over to Mace Windu for sure.
Everyone who tunes into these shows waiting for like Star Wars information, they're gonna be like, why do Tommy and Erik keep forcing in their culty improv background into every one of these episodes?
We'll never
we
stop.
Can't help it. It's an itch. It's an itch.
It's an itch.
We cannot help it. I want to thank Hey You Guys for that Rupert Friend interview clip. Hey, you guys are Rupert Friends to us all. We appreciate you asking the right questions. Welcome back to New Rockstars. The Grand Inquisitor will be the most immediate threat to Obi-Wan Kenobi until he meets Darth Vader. But actor Rupert Friend is now promising cameos from people I obviously can't tell you. So what other Star Wars cameos will this character share the screen with? Because that limits our options there, doesn't it? And what will they look like on Kenobi? I decided to mix it up this week. I made a choice.
It was a cute Kenobi. Kenobi!
I'm still on the fence about it.
It was a nice sweet Easter bunny choice.
It was,
Kenobi!
Easter eggs galore here Monday morning after. The hard-boiled eggs are unfound and rotting around Casa de Vossa.
Yeah.
And they will, this is just the home smell now. When you walk in, it's like the dad saying, I can see a couple Easter eggs from where I stand and you haven't found yet.
But it's 2 weeks later.
It's 2 weeks later. And then you grow up and you become a person who finds Easter eggs for a living.
Yes.
That's my curse, but also my gift.
We just got an origin story. I may have to do a breakdown on Erik Voss's origin. Erik Voss just admitted on an episode of Wookieeleaks that as a child he couldn't find all his Easter eggs, leading to an obsession as an adult.
I think I need to be like the Joker and I have alternate stories for how I got it. And you did make up your mind.
You want to know why I find these eggs? My father was a hider. And every year, he'd get real drunk and hide Easter eggs all over the lawn.
And at some point, I'm going to say this story to somebody, and I'm like, you want to know why I find these eggs? And they say, no, but I know how you found these. And just throw eggs at me as I'm walking down Divisadero.
That'll be me. At that point, I'll be a hobo street performer that just juggles rotten eggs. They call me Rotten Tommy. And you'll be like, that'll be my origin story. They already do call me Rotten Tommy. In some circles.
That's your amateur wrestling ring name, like Rotten Tommy. You eat rotten food.
There comes Rotten Tommy. My God, that's Rotten Tommy's smell.
From the top rope, it's Rotten Tommy.
Eggs everywhere. Eggs everywhere.
Already off the rails. But this is how I prefer to be off the rails. The rails do not exist when I'm talking with Tommy. Screw the rails. Well, by the way, this is Wookieeleaks. It's our Star Wars show. Yeah. We're goofing around because, you know, we're in the fun period of Star Wars speculation. We don't have new immediate footage to break down, but we're here with you every week because we know you Star Wars junkies need a bit of Tom and Erik to get you through your Mondays.
That's right.
So here's what we're doing. This episode, Tommy and I are going to run down the list of every possible juicy cameo that might appear in this Obi-Wan Kenobi series based on Rupert Friend, Grand Inquisitor, saying that he knows of some cameos because I think it's interesting that he says this because you gotta imagine when we're speculating on cameos for this show, if it's just like a Force ghost on Tatooine, Rupert Friend wouldn't know about that.
No,
you know, he
probably not.
only knows the people who he had scenes with. He doesn't know what the big picture is going to be. So we're talking cameos that would be in the scene with the Grand Inquisitor,
Whoa.
which gives us some interesting options that I don't think we've really discussed yet. So we're going to talk about them in this episode. But before we get into that, time is running out to grab yourself the Moon Knight Latest Obsession shirt from New Rockstars merch. It's called Tomb of the Moon God. I'm wearing it right now. Buying it not only directly supports us here at New Rockstars, but it also unlocks the ability to get a shout out in our weekly Inside Marvel show. So get this before it sells out over at newrockstarsmerch.com. It's a great shirt. It's got secrets in it. It's got secrets that, you know, you gotta see if you can decode. It's all down there too. See that? See that? Am I showing a bit of midriff here? Uh-oh. Oops.
Ooh, a little flirty Monday.
Did it again. To your heart. Moist Monday over here at Wookieeleaks. But Tommy, what's our first question?
Oh, man. What surprise cameos will appear in Kenobi with the Grand Inquisitor?
With the Grand Inquisitor. So imagine. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, let's say it's episode 4, episode 5. We've already seen our Darth Vader. We've already gotten some other teases to the Filoni-verse. But now we're in a scene with the Grand Inquisitor on the Fortress Inquisitorius, maybe the Death Star. Who would appear in this Imperial turf with this guy? Or who might this guy be hunting down? Who might be interesting? So let's go through the options of who we know is already in the show. So obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Owen Lars, Beru Lars, Grand Inquisitor's in the show, and then we're going to meet the third sister, Moses Ingram's character, Sun Kang. Justice for Han is playing the fifth brother. He's going to be in the show. Indira Varma playing some Imperial officer. We also know for sure that Luke Skywalker, age 10, going to be played by Grant Healy. And then the rest of the cast, we got Camille Nanjiani, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Simone Kessel, Benny Safdie, Maya Erskine from Pen 15, and then Rory Ross. We don't know what roles they're playing. I imagine they're going to be something like like Bill Burr's character in The Mandalorian, someone who just starts off as a one-off character, but then might come back in some other fun ways. Yeah. So let's run through the speculated options. One of the biggest cameos people want to see in the show is Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu. We just want some acknowledgement that he actually did survive his fall from the Chancellor's quarters. If Mace Windu shows up at the show, I think very likely. I just don't know if Rupert Friend would know about that.
Right.
Because unless he was the one who eventually tracked down and killed Mace Windu. Because Mace Windu, as far as we know, I don't think he would have lived through the Galactic Civil Wars and the events of the original trilogy. I feel like if Mace Windu was alive for that, he would have shown up somewhere, you know, unless he was completely in exile. I just think if Mace Windu ever shows up, it's just going to be some acknowledgement that he survived that night and then had some other adventure, maybe being the person who got Grogu to safety or helping out in some other way. But I feel like he would have met his end at some point in the past. I just don't know if we're going to see the Mandalorian era of Star Wars with old man Mace Windu running around. I would love to see that. I just don't know.
The only scenario with Mace that I could see that would satisfy him still being alive is if that kind of attack by Anakin or the newly minted Darth Vader just broke him psychologically. And he was just like like the way that Luke thought Yoda was crazy. Like if Mace Windu actually was that crazy and was exiled and maybe being protected by other Jedis, but essentially like maybe kind of almost like the Mr. Glass character in the you know, in those trilogies where he like makes a lot of sense up to like 30 or 40 or 50% of what he's saying, and then the last 50 is just batshit insane. So I would not prefer that. I want my Mace Windu to be heroic, but the only way I could see them keeping that character alive, as you said, without having him, you know, have participated, is if he's just so psychologically damaged from the insane betrayal that occurred right in front of him and to him.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, if Mace Windu was alive during the original trilogy of events of A New Hope, Empire, and then Jedi, like things would not have been so bleak for the Jedi at that point if he survived that. I think Yoda would know. I think Obi-Wan probably would have been able to figure it out that his old, you know, friend on the Jedi Council is still alive somewhere. So I just think like I think he did survive that night. I think it'd be great for Lucasfilm to just say that Mace Windu was able to use his one good hand to grab one of those Coruscant cars and then get to the Jedi Temple and help out somebody or do something. And now that would just require a lot of de-aging tech on Samuel L. Jackson, but they've done it before Disney has the technology. They can do it again.
They got the templates. Just slap those templates down.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just drag and drop the Captain Marvel stuff right on them. Yeah, you'll be good to go.
Cue all the effects people being like, "That's not how easy it is," and
it's not that easy.
I know that. I'm just being a jerk. That's what I do.
We're just being jerks. Okay, let's talk about the Organa family. So Jimmy Smits, we think, is going to show up in Cassian Andor. It makes a lot of sense. Probably the Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. I just remember that one scene from Rogue One. I want to see those two, play both sides, the political and the rebel spies. But there's a lot of speculation that since we're getting 10-year-old Luke, we could see 10-year-old Leia. There's some speculation that Vivian Lyra Blair might be playing Leia Organa. I think she might show up in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm just thinking, would the Grand Inquisitor have shared a scene with her? Because if you're the Grand Inquisitor and if you're talking to 10-year-old Leia Organa, that would mean like you suspect her for having force sensitivity. That you saw some Jedi or some holocron and then you're going to kill her. The fact that Leia survived that would make me think that the Grand Inquisitor never met her, never suspected her.
I don't think so.
So while she might show up in the show, I don't think that's one of the cameos. Or maybe he's read all the scripts and he's like, yeah, Leia's going to be in this. I don't know. I just think they're likely options.
Yeah, for some reason they gave him every single top secret script. They're like, we just want some notes. Just give us any feedback you have. Hit us up on the Slack.
I mean, there could be a scene where he's not allowed to move yet on just force sensitivity. So like he has some way of scanning kids, or maybe Leia's name shows up in a holocron, and then like Bail Organa is like, look, you have made a mistake. I'm a powerful political figure. And then maybe Grand Inquisitor's like, well, your days are numbered, Senator. Mm-hmm. One of these days, the things are going to shift. So look after this one. Make sure no Jedi ever talks to her. That'd be a pretty freaking cool scene on Alderaan. And then maybe he looks around and he starts like running his finger along the walls. He's like, enjoy this place while it lasts.
Something doesn't sit right here.
Well, anyway, no need to leave. No need to leave. Just camp out right here.
I'll be back. Oh, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't be back. Maybe I will be back.
He just takes his lightsaber and twirls away, and they're like, huh?
Like Mary Poppins. Wow, that guy was cool, right?
Let's talk about Grogu.
Yes.
Are we gonna revisit? Look, because here's the deal. I know this is an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I know it's about a certain story about a certain character. But look, we also had a show called The Book of Boba Fett. And for whatever reason, we had a whole episode without him in it. And we flashed back to the night of Order 66. It seems like every Star Wars series is at some point just going to readdress Order 66. Could this be the show that tells us how Grogu got out of the temple?
It could. I don't think it needs to be. I think this show should. I love Grogu. You've all seen my home. There's little Grogus everywhere. I wish I could have a real Grogu and raise him as my foundling. But I think that this show will be able to stand on its own without any direct Mandalorian crossover. I think there are characters that have appeared on The Mandalorian or The Book of Boba Fett that could appear on this show, but not Grogu. I don't think it needs to be Grogu. It's Kenobi. This show could be all about Kenobi. It should be all about Kenobi. That's what I
Agreed. I mean, they could establish that Kenobi was the one who snuck Grogu out of that temple. But he didn't get there till the next day. It would have to mean that night Grogu was tucked away somewhere in like a cabinet or a lazy Susan, and then Kenobi got there the next day after he talked to Yoda, watched the security footage of Sindralig and the other kids being killed, and then Obi-Wan's like, even the younglings. Yeah. And then, Yoda pieces out, and then Obi-Wan turns his head like, what's that little cooing sound behind that chair? And then he finds the little egg thing. But I don't know if that's the most dramatic way to reveal Grogu's survival. Yeah. I think it should just be Mace clutching him like a football, using his good hand to kill as many people as he can. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see.
That's what I would like. Yeah.
That's what it should be.
I agree.
Whether in this show or some future show, maybe if you do a Mace Windu series, a Mace Windu mini-series, that could be how it starts.
Yeah.
And then we say goodbye to Grogu as he pushes him down a river.
Mm-hmm.
And then
in the Reeves.
River, flow gently for me. I tried so hard to watch Prince of Egypt this past weekend. Mm-hmm. I feel like that should be my Easter/Passover watching thing. We watch Elf during Christmas time. We should watch Prince of Egypt.
Absolutely.
Underrated movie. That movie defined my childhood. I got that soundtrack. I would just sit at home on Friday nights and just blare Steven Schwartz's music as Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston sang their fucking hearts out at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Bangers. And I would just scream it in my living room when I was 11 years old. I loved that movie so much. Brenda Chapman was a animation director, worked on The Lion King.
Good work, Brenda.
Worked on Pixar's Brave. Boys Club at Pixar, just kicked her right off of that movie.
So get the hell out.
Super talented animator. Thank you for making Prince of Egypt.
Thank you, Brenda.
Anyway, let's talk about some other Jedi who might show up on the show. Now, I think the theme of the show is that like the Jedi are scattered. They are at their weakest state in all of history. But there are some rumors that we might see Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost. Maybe Yoda could show up as like a Force projection, Force Ghost at some point. Liam Neeson, Frank Oz, still out there, still could show up on the show. I just don't think that the Grand Inquisitor actor would know about those scenes.
That was
I think if it was that big of a deal, I don't think he would see the Force Ghost. I don't think he would.
Yeah, we really don't have a lot of information on Yoda post Order 66, right? We don't really know a ton. He went to.
We know some. We know his arrival from Dagobah, from some of the other associated material. He was and he was involved in Rebels. He was we saw him during the Rebels timeline, but Rebels would be after this. So yeah, we don't know exactly where. This is why I love that they picked this year, because it's just right in the middle of this kind of this dark period where we know some stuff from like associated material, but like none of the series have really just like focused on these years in particular. Okay, a couple other runaway Jedi out there who we have speculated here. Ahsoka Tano, Cal Kestis.
Yes, give me Cal Kestis, baby. Cal Kestis is my number one. He's my number one draft pick for this. He's my number one. This is who I want. This is who I believe will show up in a scene with the Grand Inquisitor. This is who I got.
For sure. Seeing him in Jedi Fallen Order, there's going to be a Fallen Order follow-up, so depending on when that follow-up happens, it kind of determines whether or not we'd see Cal Kestis on this show. But I think of all the Star Wars announced titles, this is a perfect one. And I think this is an example of we could see, the Grand Inquisitor hunting down Cal Kestis because the Inquisitors are aware of Cal Kestis. Mm-hmm. So he could be a target of theirs. And that could be something that Rupert Friend was referring to. Like maybe he shared a scene or saw like Cameron Monaghan's face on a screen, or it was like scripted out to be a certain way. And he had to say like Cal Kestis escaped, and he can kind of talk about like the past of the Fortress Inquisitorius and when he was there in the past. Like, I think to me, that seems super likely. That's in my most likely of the list we're going through today, I would think. Now, a couple other people that I think could be interesting to think about. If you think about the Grand Inquisitor's origin, right? It was revealed that he was a temple guard in the trial of Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee in that season 5 Clone Wars arc. That one of those temple guards went on to be the Grand Inquisitor. So this sets up a couple interesting options. Barriss Offee, we don't know where she was during the night of Order 66. She was just kind of like in containment. She was she's in a prison somewhere in the Jedi Temple. But there's other characters like the Imperial ranking. Grand Moff Tarkin could make an appearance. Stephen Stanton's been doing some great voice work as Tarkin in Bad Batch and Clone Wars. Guy Henry in Rogue One did the initial stand-in before they did the animated face, recreating Peter Cushing.
Right.
Guy Henry does a pretty good Tarkin impression. That I think he could do an interesting stand-in thing. Stephen Stanton looks the part too. I wouldn't mind if he did it. Yeah. I would love to see a live-action younger Tarkin.
Yeah.
We don't need to do the animation on the face again.
No need to reanimate him.
Just have an actor play them.
Yeah,
just have an actor do it. I'll leave you on this. I don't think we're going to see Maul on this show, right? That's so much has been said. Right. Another Jedi I forgot to mention, Luminara Unduli is someone who survived Kashyyyk during Order 66.
Yes.
And then she died. The Grand Inquisitor captured her. So in Rebels season 1, was it season 1? Yeah. You find out that like he used her corpse to lure in Kanan and Ezra. So like we could see her capture by the Grand Inquisitor in her interrogation. So I think Luminara Unduli, along with Cal Kestis, are two most likely other Jedi runaways that the Grand Inquisitor could cross paths with. But I think ultimately I would love to see, and I know there's some mixed feelings about Emperor Palpatine after Sidious's mysterious return somehow in The Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow.
But Ian McDiarmid is awesome.
Yes.
I think this would be a perfect opportunity. I imagine like the Grand Inquisitor, the boss's boss to the Grand Inquisitor, like him showing up, dropping the hammer. I think that would be a very, very exciting cameo that could totally work on this show. So of this list, I want us to rank like what we think are top 3 likeliest cameos that
Sure.
Rupert Friend was talking about.
Sure.
Tommy, what are your top 3?
I told you my number 1 pick is Cal Kestis. I think he just makes a lot of sense to be in the show. I think that like his involvement being hunted down by a Grand Inquisitor makes a ton of sense. I also think I like you kind of won me over on the opening on our discussion. I like a Bail Organa cameo with the Grand Inquisitor, where like maybe it's a video conference thing, but it's kind of like maybe that's the reference to Leia we get on the show is Bail Organa kind of running interference and being like, we have it all taken care of here. You have no right to come down here. Go away. And then Grand Inquisitor being like, I have my eye on you, or whatever, like that type. Exactly how you laid it out. That just seems like a lot of fun. And then I don't know. I know it seems like this would just be annoying to people, or people would be like, we don't need more of this. But I do think it makes sense that Palpatine eventually shows up again, maybe possibly as a projection or a video, or like, you know what I mean? On a remote. I think it makes sense to have the boss's boss weigh in, right? Like this is like part of this show, a subplot of Kenobi is kind of introducing where the Empire is at this point, right? Like that's got to be like that's clearly what we're getting. So we would need to know what the Emperor is up to. And Ian McDiarmid is awesome. And with the heavy, it doesn't matter, the Palpatine appearance, he could literally do this till he's 105. It's like
he could just do a voice. He could do a holocron voice call.
Exactly. So those are my 3. How about you, Erik?
I kind of arranged them into groups, like types of cameos.
Yes.
So at the bottom of my list, I'm gonna go with a wild card. I didn't mention him in my list here, but I think we're gonna see a clone trooper played by Tamora Morrison.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think that's just a fun opportunity. And at this point, as we know from Bad Batch, the clone troopers are being eradicated. Tarkin's like, we don't need them anymore. We don't trust using clone troopers. They're compromisable. So I think it'd be really fun to see Rex. Now, an Inquisitor scene with Rex might be bad news for Rex. And we know Rex survives this because he shows up in Rebels. But I think there is a scene in the trailer where it looks like he's closing in on a bald person that just looks like the back of Tamora Morrison's head. So it's a wild card. I'll acknowledge that. But he would be my number 3 pick. My number 2 pick is going to be some authority figure. So either Palpatine or Tarkin. And it might just be the voice of them or something like that. The fact that we see Indira Varma playing an Imperial officer, I think someone who she has to report to, she's kind of a rival maybe to Rupert Friend's character, that you have like the Inquisitors who are these former Jedi who have been corrupted to hunt down other Jedis who represent this kind of mystical side project of Darth Vader to an otherwise very strict military branch of the Empire. So I think someone she reports to, that being Tarkin or maybe Palpatine. So of those 2, I think Palpatine's my more preferred option, just because Ian McDiarmid's great. I love to see him in anything. So my number 1 pick is going to be some runaway Jedi. So of that group, Mace Windu, Cal Kestis, or Luminar Unduli, I think of those 3 in this show, Cal Kestis would be the most fun, but I think most likely is going to be Luminar Unduli, just because we know from Rebels that Grand Inquisitor and Luminar have that backstory there. So I think if you imagine like a flashback with him where he's like capturing her, that's something that Rupert Friend might have at the top of his head. He's like, I know this is a very important Jedi to Star Wars fans. They're gonna go apeshit when they see this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Luminara. I'm gonna go with Luminara. All right, Tommy and I have some more thoughts that we want to share and discuss about how exactly the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is going to tie into lines from A New Hope. A specific line from Darth Vader that now will have a completely different meaning as a result of the Obi-Wan show. Before we get to that, we want to thank Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. With big wireless providers, there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch here? But there isn't one. That's the catch. No catch. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they are the first company to sell wireless service online only. So they cut out the cost of retail stores and they pass on those sweet savings directly to you. New Rockstars head of post-production, Riley, loves his Mint Mobile plan. He switched over even before they started sponsoring the show, so he's a true believer. He loves that he got to keep his phone and his number, but just saves so much money every month. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate, whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. So all plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Wookie. That's mintmobile.com/Wookie. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Wookie. We also want to thank Storyworth for sponsoring this episode. Have you ever flipped through your mom's high school yearbook or your grandma's old photo album and realized there are just huge portions of their life you didn't know anything about? That happened to our researcher Anna recently, and that's why she got her mom Storyworth. Storyworth is an online service that helps you and your loved ones connect through sharing stories and memories and preserves them for years to come. Every week, Storyworth emails your mom or whoever you get this for a thought-provoking question of your choice from a vast pool of possible options, each unique prompt to ask questions you've never thought of, like, what's some of the best advice your mother gave you? Or if you were to do it all over, what would you do differently? It's just a really cool process for your mom or your grandmother to reflect back on their life and share their stories, and it's just really cool for you and your family to learn more about them that way. After 1 year, Storyworth compiles all these questions and stories, including photos, into a beautiful keepsake book for the whole family that they can share for generations. Just have on the coffee table, people flip through it, and you can tell them a story about how you and your mom did this for a year. It's a cool gift. So give all the moms in your life a meaningful gift that you'll both cherish for years, Storyworth. Right now, for a limited time, you'll save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/Wookie. That's STORYWORTH.com/Wookie with 2 E's to save $10 on your first purchase. Storyworth.com/Wookie. And we want to thank Coinbase for sponsoring this episode. If you've ever been following the cryptocurrency craze, now is the time to start getting involved. Coinbase makes it easy and quick to start your own portfolio and to learn to trade like a pro. Coinbase offers a trusted and easy-to-use platform to buy, sell, and spend cryptocurrency. They support the most popular digital currencies on the market and make them accessible to everyone. They offer portfolio management, protection, learning resources, and a mobile app, so you can trade securely and monitor your crypto all in one place. Millions of people in over 100 countries trust Coinbase with their digital assets. Whether you're looking to diversify, just getting started, or searching for a better way to access crypto markets, start today with Coinbase. And for a limited time, new users can get $10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up today at coinbase.com/Wookie. Sign up at coinbase.com/Wookie for $10 in free Bitcoin. This is an offer for limited time only, so be sure to sign up today. That's coinbase.com/Wookie. All right, Tommy, let's remind ourselves of the epic line in Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi's duel on the Death Star in Star Wars A New Hope, 1977. He says, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but a learner, but now I am the master." Yes. And then Obi-Wan says, "Only a master of evil, Darth." And I like how he calls him Darth in that moment. Like George Lucas clearly did not imagine that as a title. He imagined that as his first name. So it's just one of these little things from the first Star Wars. It's like, please never change that. It's just such a great way to talk to him. I'm getting a bunch of Star Wars fans right now screaming at me like, "That's a completely reasonable thing for a Jedi to call a Sith." I just like it. I'm not criticizing anything. I think it's fun. I love it. It's okay to like. Now, it's also okay to dislike. We're not going to judge what your opinions are. Whatever. But Tommy, I wanted to ask you, now that we're looking ahead at Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we know that he and Darth Vader are going to have a rematch in this series, what do you think Darth Vader meant by "when I left you, I was but a learner, now I am the master"?
I think this was a huge miscommunication between two old friends that had had a lot of conflict. I think what Darth Vader was trying to tell Obi-Wan is that he finally finished his master's degree. And now he has a post-grad. And he's saying, like, when I left you, I was floundering through my undergrad. You know, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to major in. Because here I was saying I was majoring in Jedi, over there having a baby, 2 of them, as a matter of fact, with Natalie Portman. I didn't know what I wanted to be. Maybe I wanted to be a daddy. But now I'm a master, a Sith master. And I think it was meant to entice a cash gift. A graduation present. But unfortunately, those are, well, if you go through and read Lucas's early drafts, there's a lot of undergrad and postgrad subplots. He clearly had an agenda against the American college system and student loans.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, I think that we can interpret this two ways. I'm choosing to interpret it the literal way, which is that when he's saying I left you, it doesn't mean the last time he saw him. He means it is when I left you and was no longer your apprentice or was no longer learning from you. I still was not a complete whatever, Sith or at that point Jedi. I was incomplete. But now I am at the top of my game. I am the master. I am the Sith master. There is no one better at this than me. I am superior to you now. My training is complete. I think that's what he means. I think it's just it can be literally interpreted. How about you?
I think it's a completely valid way to interpret it. I choose the metaphorical path. But so the way I see this is there are now 3 implicit questions with this question. When I left you, so when did he really leave him now? I was but a learner. So what does it mean? What did he mean by but a learner? And when he says, now I am the master. So what happened since that other fight to make Darth Vader a master? How did he recover from that? And what other experiences did he go through on his own after this rematch with Obi-Wan Kenobi to make him now a master? Was it just he killed enough of those rebel soldiers on the way to the Tantive 4? He's like, oh, that's my 5th one in a row. I got a streak. I'm a master now. I think addressing those questions one by one, I think now, after Revenge of the Sith, many of us assumed, when I left you, but Revenge of the Sith, it was Obi-Wan who left him. So I think that tells us about this rematch duel. It's going to be Vader who walks away from it, and it's Obi-Wan who's left limping. So I think Vader's going to come out on top there. But he still considers himself a learner there. So I think the nature of that fight is going to be a relationship between teacher and pupil. I think Obi-Wan's still going to be schooling him in that fight. It says, look at your feet placement right now. Look at your feet. Yeah. What have I told you about your breathing? You can't even breathe right now. You need a machine to do your breathing for you. Like, imagine Obi-Wan just taunting his student, just being such an asshole to him. Like, I think the arc for Vader is to still learn how to work through this weird new body that he has. And that's going to be the learning process, is still learn how to use the Force to empower every new component of him. And then lastly, now I am the master. I think the threat there is that, technically in the Sith duo relationship that he has with Palpatine, if he said that in front of Palpatine would be super threatened because Palpatine is the master. Like, for an apprentice is to say now he is the master, even when he's using it to taunt his former master, that would be something that Palpatine would be like, whoa, wait. The pop calling from the bleachers like, hey, who taught you how to swing the bat, huh? Who taught you? Your old man did. I can drink in public. Shut up. Yeah.
I could have been a Yankee. I have no son.
No, but I think that what it is it's a threat to Obi-Wan in that moment. Like, not only am I more powerful than you, old man, I'm willing to call myself a master, even though I am the scariest master in the world who could be listening in on this conversation right now. So I think the implication of it is that I am no longer really that afraid of Palpatine. So that's why you need to be afraid of me, is I think I can take him. I think I can take Palpatine. And indeed, he later does.
Well, it isn't that very long the thought process of Anakin Skywalker. That's a much more Anakin thought than a Vader thought of yeah, I'm better than this guy. Like, Anakin's whole life, he was like, I can do this, way ahead of when he should have been able to do it. So, I like it.
Well, I hope that line gets referenced in some way. I assume it will be. You gotta imagine, the team at Lucasfilm made an entire movie out of one sentence in Brian De Palma's opening scrawl from A New Hope. If they could do that, they're gonna make a meal out of this awesome line from A New Hope in this show. So I can't wait to see it come up. Tommy and I are gonna lose our minds when that comes up. But that is it for this week's episode of Wookieeleaks. Again, don't forget to check out our many great merch options over at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me at EA Voss. Follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye then.